Obviously, he was skeptical, as you would be, having some guy call you down the phone and say, hey, we've got these electric skateboards that do this, 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 and this. And oh, by the way, they're about $1,500.
And we're live. Welcome back to another episode of eSKATE Chat with Evolve. We're here with Jeff Anning and the Global Retail Manager, Trav Manton.
Howdy.
How are we doing?
Hello.
Nice wet morning.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good ride down.
It rained hard all the way here, and it's been like that for the last 4 days now.
Yeah, sweet. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about, as people have seen by the title, what makes Evolve different than other eSKATE brands. It's a bit of a follow-up to last week's Insider. If people haven't seen it yet, it was a big sort of 17-minute video looking at the last 10 years of Evolve, how Jeff started it, the challenges he faced it, how the business grew, all the way up to where it is today. So we got some pretty good feedback. What was your view seeing that all laid out in front of you?
Look, to capture all that in 17 minutes, it was definitely the shortened down story, that's for sure. But I knew we were collating all this information over time. And when I saw the video, because I made sure I didn't watch it before, I wanted it to be more of a surprise. And I knew I saw snippets of it. But it just brought back so many good memories, seeing where we started in that Broadbeach house, and we were so dodged back then. It was just, doing these videos and then seeing the fold out tables and then seeing Max on his little penny right at the end there, and then obviously seeing all the other guys involved in the journey like Trav, and hearing his thoughts, some of my mates, and Jens getting on camera. It was great. It made me feel so good. But exactly like Jens said, as Jeff said, we're only just getting started, and that really sort of resonated and made me laugh. And and it's so true, because that's how I feel, and looking forward to obviously the next chapters ahead.
Bring it on.
Bring it
on. Yeah. So that's pretty much what we're going to dive into. Some of the stuff we briefly touched on, but we'll go a little bit deeper as to why Evolve's different. First of all, I want to give people a little bit of an insight, because we spoke a lot about the personality behind the brand. We're not some big corporate sort of thing. We are a big business, but the way we interact with each other isn't. I think it'd be a good story to just briefly tell us how you two met.
I'll let you start with this one, Jeff. I'll leave that to you.
All right, okay. All right. Trav and I, have been best mates for a long time. We've known each other since we were 13.
Yeah.
Yep.
About 13.
13.
It's standard in most companies.
Yeah.
Well, we went to the same school. We went to TSS on the Gold Coast. Still remember Trav in our 8H class. Just total misfit of a character. I guess that's what is very cheeky and just always getting himself into trouble and being a loudmouth and the joker of the class.
I don't know. I think Jeff used to get me in trouble. We had a few teachers that tended to like you, and Jeff could do no wrong, which meant sometimes the handball onto Trav, who copped it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we could tell heaps of stories. But first started at school, and then obviously we remained mates for the rest of our life. We left school. I ended up going to university up in Brisbane. I did this business degree, human resource management, which I was in the industry for a while, but totally not suited for it. Trav and I lived together during that time. That's really where it started. Trav is a hospitality guru, run many sort of restaurants and very skillful in his art. And then obviously we both had families. We sort of did our own thing, and then how did Trav end up working for Evolve? It's an interesting story. As we were growing, we were getting contacted by various sort of retailers around Australia, and they wanted to work with us, and we, I didn't really know what I was doing in that wholesale game, And
that reflects on the discounts you were giving them straight up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you've got to know your numbers in business. That's like first and foremost. If you're not all over that, so I've learnt that. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, we were having these retail accounts, and but then at the same time, we were wearing every hat. You know, we were doing like the customer service, the R&D, the sales, meeting customers directly, the after sales service. It was only just me and Fleur at the time, and then we're also then having to deal with the retailers, and that's a whole new ballgame. You know, it's very different to the direct to customer. So that was taking up a lot of the time, and I knew if we're going to do this properly, we had to invest in that part of our business because I just didn't have the time to do it. And I knew Trav, what he was doing at the time. He was he used to work for Coca-Cola. He's got huge experience in how to manage these accounts, and then in the wine game. And Trav, not only that, he was being a part of Evolve right from when it first started. You know, he knew the product. We used to go skating together. Trav was so passionate about it and very, just excited, which was really, I loved, that, having your mates support you like that. And then Trav, I knew that I was just kept thinking back in my mind, yeah, man, I reckon I've got to get him on board. Like, if I'm going to work with a salesperson, it would be rad if Trav came with the journey. So we're at this awards night, like it was a Gold Coast Business Awards night.
Pretty sure that was planned. You invited me along specifically for what was about to happen.
Actually, you are. Very true. There was a little bit of strategy behind it, but yeah, we're at this awards night, and Trav knew we were growing and was excited by the fact that we were moving forward, and he came along and we ended up winning a small business award there, and we were drinking wine, and then I just remember because Fleur knew I was gonna drop the hint, and I just said, look, man, do you want to sell like lolly water all your life? Do you want to sell wine all your life, or do you really want to come on something that's going to be rad and exciting and new? And then Trav, I remember, because we were kind of half cut at the time, and then Trav just looked at me. He goes, "Really? Did you just offer me a job?" And
it was a bit of a spin out. Definitely, it was definitely a spin out.
Still remember that moment. And I guess and I know when you look at like Apple and Steve Jobs, I know. He said a similar thing to one of their CEOs at the time. They were really trying to grow their brand, and then I think he used to work for Coca-Cola too, or something like that. And
yeah, right.
So I guess I got inspiration from that to then, say the same thing to you. Yeah. Worked.
Well, it makes sense bringing in a relationship that you can trust and works before they actually come in. So
what I love about Trav too, he always tells it how it is, and that's and you need that. You don't want someone who's just a yes man. Like
not always at the office, though, Jeff. Occasionally, there's times when it has to be said out of the office. But yeah, definitely, I try to speak my mind. I mean, as you've surrounded yourself with guys and girls that do the same, I think that's the best way for business is no bullshit, just telling it how it is.
Yeah, 100%.
How long ago did you walk into Evolve, and what was the state of the company like? Where was Evolve at along its journey?
So it was April 2015, I think it was. And at that point, Jeff and Fleur had a factory or a HQ in Helensvale, near Helensvale.
Yeah, Arundel.
Arundel, sorry. And I remember coming on board. I'd just finished up as a wine consultant. My last couple of days were down in Tasmania drinking wine. I thought, this is great. I'm about to go and head into this cool job with my best mate and take over the world. And it didn't actually eventuate like that. I remember walking in and, Jeff sort of said, "Hey man, how are you? This is where we're at, and this is our retailers, and this is what we've done with them."
And don't get me wrong, Travis used to like wearing his fancy gear.
Fancy gear. I just
dressing up at the time.
Business attire.
Just drinking $1,000 bottles of wine.
Listen, that was where it was at. But it's obviously different. Board shorts and an Evolve shirt and hat, and rocking in, and it was different in that respect. But it was also different not having sold electric skateboards before, I can sell things, but and the basic model of selling can be translated across any industry, I believe, as long as you've got knowledge. But definitely coming into that, not knowing the background, not knowing the retail platform, and Jeff just going, well, here's our retailers. Go grow it for us. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fun and games over the next 6 months, sort of feeling the platform out, but also feeling each other out in respect to, I've never worked with my best mate before, and that was a different concept altogether. And, just sort of sussing things out. And we had it was sort of wild, wild west then. So we had some pretty cool wins and some pretty cool things that we did to try and get new retail on board and grow the platform. And yeah, for me, it was really exciting, and it was, it's always been about sort of growing the business and having fun, and that's never stopped, which has been pretty cool. So
yeah, and from a business point of view too, at that time when we decided to go, right, we're going to make a big hire here, and we're going to invest in someone who's going to help grow our business. So as a small business, because we weren't making much money at the time, we're doing okay, but to put a lot of money into another wage was a big ask for us.
Yeah, I can remember actually when I told him how much I was on at my last job and how much I sort of wanted from him. I think I saw this sort of spasm twitch in the corner of his eye.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, and learn a lot over the years running business, and just you looking at returns and investments, and so that's what I had to look past that, and I got assistance in that mindset from other people who understands business, accountants, and it was just like look at what's going to happen in 3-4 years from now, and man, 100%, like no way, never look back, that's for sure. Only looking forward now.
Bring it on.
Always moving.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a recap on sort of that side of things. What we spoke about in that last film was the distribution network. It came about very organically with Jens from Germany first reaching out and just saying, hey, I want to sell your board.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple on there, William in France, Alex in USA, but there's 14 distributors all over the world. There's Russia, Spain, everywhere, Japan, Korea, all over.
Yeah.
How do you find that the distribution network services evolve? Because it's not arrogant to say no other eSKATE brand has that. No one.
Yeah.
We're the only one that can service that many countries in the capacity that we do.
Yeah, like it definitely did happen really quickly and organically. Like literally, after the first 50 boards went out there, it all happened within an 18-month, 2-year period, and we just couldn't believe it. It just happened so fast. But all the people that were wanting to work with us, they were passionate guys as well. And that's the thing. That's the difference. They love the idea of electric skating and recreation. And these people were also like snowboarders and ex-skaters and the other backgrounds. They had dabbled in other businesses as well. So I guess it made sense at the time. And how has that helped us? I think having like-minded people who share the same vision and passion, trying to turn a hobby into a business has been really, really beneficial, and especially right in the early days, we learn a lot from each other, and how they do their business, how we do it, how we can improve, how they can improve. It was a constant process, really, wasn't it?
Totally. And I think you touched on it in the last video. They've got a vested interest, not just from a monetary perspective, but as you said, they're passionate, they're driven to grow the brand. Again, not just for money, but it's more about the experience, and they all love what they do. They love the product. And one thing that I have seen over the few years that I've worked with the distributors in different capacities is their growth as well, not just as distributors, but also as people, and seeing them grow their families and see them find friends that they didn't have before this, or just in general, just see all of the positivity that's come as a part of being a distributor with Evolve. And I'm not saying that that's due to Evolve by any means, but it's definitely been cool to see how Evolve has fit into their lives and how they fit into our business.
Yeah, and how their teams have grown.
Totally.
Like, it started.
Some of them are armies now. Like Germany's huge.
Yeah. It was like a one-man show, and they wore every hat as well. So we all did everything in the beginning, and like you said, it's been a great story watching them grow and the relationships that we've formed with their staff as well. And we've made great friends along the way, and experiences. When we travel and go see some of these guys at different trade shows and the fun we have.
That's actually a way that he bribes me. So he doesn't pay me in dollars; he pays me in trips. So he knows how much I love traveling around the world. So
not going well for you in 2020.
No, it isn't. But
definitely
that's been an awesome part of working with the distributors. Is, as Jeff said, we tend to watch them grow and we get to relate with them. But definitely meeting them and having a beer and having a skate and having a chat about their business and ours and the future concepts. And it's funny because you find that a lot of stuff gets talked about over a beverage or over a coffee outside of the office or not on a Zoom or a Skype. And I think that's more legitimate, more real to these guys as well. So they're really important, those catch-ups, and definitely it's a good way. I think we've differentiated ourselves from others.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. We've been in the game a fair while now, and things have changed. Since we first started. We've been really working on our team, our processes, our product, and some areas, some locations grow faster than others, and so we've definitely changed the way we deal with that distribution in along the way as well, and. Sometimes it made sense to, if we outgrow an area and we think it's a legit opportunity, that's where we've expanded as a company. And like over in UK, for instance, that's a good example. We had a great distributor over there for a while, and but we had more capacity to take it to the next level, and so we've set up shop there. Same in New Zealand. And now in Japan and Australia. Things do evolve and things change, but it's got to be based around the numbers and the right what things are happening at the time.
Yeah, for sure. Another good thing that the distributors allow is that when the internet makes our brand global. So if someone in, let's say, Russia sees our video and they're like, I really want a board, it sucks to not actually be able to get something to them or not be able to service them. So the access for people all over the world because of the distribution network, I think has accelerated the brand growth in a way that it's more accessible to more people. And then
totally
100%. Yeah, that's exactly what we needed. I mean, when you start small, you get questions like, where can I see the board? Where can I try one out? And it just totally made sense, especially because it's a technical product. You do need parts and you do need that after sales service and customer service. And if we were going to sell boards from here to Australia to someone over in Germany, and something goes wrong, I mean, how can we deal with them? And that part of the business just made sense. We need, on the ground support, on the ground customer experience, and passionate people behind it. And so that's been a great thing. And I guess that's where wholesale comes into the next equation too. Like local, when you're talking like within Australia, you've got local communities everywhere. Not everyone can come here to the Gold Coast and check the boards out.
So that's the next side of things. We have all these distribution hubs, but there's a lot of people say in America. So if that particular brand is set up in America, that's great. They do have service, but distribution goes one step further to our retail network. So Trav, you're the educated voice on this. Tell everyone sort of what the difference is between the distributor and the retailer and the benefits the retailer is going to have to the end customer.
Well, I won't touch too much on distribution because it's already been talked about, but obviously the distributors are our partners, so too are our retailers, but they've got more invested in our business. They're more about our brand. They're very much focused and aligned with our values and what we want out of a brand, and very much they're us. They are Evolve. And without taking away from what our retailers do, our distributors are most of them solely focused on our brand. Whereas obviously if you look down at a retailer, we have some really positive, strong relationships with a lot of retailers globally, but a lot of them do have a revenue stream through different product ranges.
So typically they're a store.
As a
they're
retailer,
a retail store.
Exactly. So they've got a range different product and they sell to market to the end user. So from a retail perspective, I think having had some experience with retail and Evolve over the last 5 years, we've definitely focused from day one on ensuring that the retailers that we have either here in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, UK, and also globally, on retailers that have some sort of synergy with our product and with our ethos. And that really helps them to represent our brand as best they can in the firing line in front of the end user, the customer. So retailers are a next level arm or an extension of our representation to a point, but they also give our customers the opportunity to walk in store and experience the product as it is. As Jeff said, not everyone can come to the Gold Coast or to the Russian headquarters or the American headquarters and try product. So
not everyone shops online.
No,
and that's the thing. You can see this beautiful product online. You see great content and visual, but then that doesn't suit everyone's needs.
Well, that's it. I mean, I always say, and we always talk about Evolve being sort of at that top echelon of the product, like your Lamborghinis and so forth. And I don't know how many people would purchase a high-end vehicle off the internet without at least trying it first. So I always try and put that in perspective with our retailers and say, this is why we have you with demonstration product, if possible, is so that a customer can walk in, they can see the product, they can talk to a staff member who's knowledgeable based on the training that we've provided, and then they can experience the product by stepping on it or having a skate or at least touching it and feeling it in person. So that's definitely a huge and crucial part of how we sell our product through that platform. And as
it really helps get our brand out there
100%,
as well.
100%.
Like, seeing the Evolve
diversifies
sale
our
in the
extension,
shop.
doesn't it?
Yeah, people coming and go, oh yeah, I've seen that, and they may not, think about getting aboard at the time, but they'll shop in there and they'll walk past it a few times, and then it sort of, sticks in their mind, and then perhaps they'll go and do some more research about what is electric skateboarding, and then maybe they'll go back. And so
and I think that exposure you're talking about, we don't just sell into skate shops or surf shops. I mean, our product is widely accepted amongst many different peoples, in different sort of markets. So we've got retailers that are tech and gadget shops. We've got retailers that are snowboard shops. We've got retailers that are automobile or car sales shops. We tend to try and work with people that just have a synergy with our brand, and that can be through many different markets.
And who are passionate as well. And I think that's a key ingredient. Like if the store owner, they're passionate about electric skateboarding or e-mobility and have that, then they'll usually do pretty well.
Well, not even just that. I mean, when I look for new retail opportunities, that they may not have anything to do with electric vehicles or eSKATE at all. So I look at a number of factors. One of those being, I suppose, the passion they have around their current products, how they present themselves with their stores through their social platforms, are they engaged with their community? Those sort of things align with our values and the way we like to do business. And from my perspective, I think that is something that is also above and beyond having a key or fond liking for our product. We tend to work with retailers that have that same sort of value system as us. So.
Yeah. Another cool thing about the retail network is that a lot of these companies don't really think about e-vehicles before we approach them or they approach us, or because it is in its infancy, this whole e-mobility thing. Yeah. So a lot of the ones that are doing well have realized, hey, this is happening. This is a considerable part, and it's growing to be a bigger part of their business. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I know where you're leading with this. So I can shout one retailer out in particular, 12 Board Store in Melbourne, Australia. I remember approaching them 4 or so years ago on my sort of target list of retailers that I thought could hold some opportunity for the brand. And I remember talking to Jamie, who's the owner there, and discussing who we are and what we do. And, it was big for him because I didn't actually go and meet him. I just called him on the phone and started talking about the product. And obviously he was skeptical, as you would be, having some guy call you down the phone and say, hey, we've got these electric skateboards that do this, and this. And oh, by the way, they're about $1,500. But through a few chats and showing him some more information and, him sussing us out and us sussing him out a bit, he made the commitment. And at that point, there was a minimum order that we had in place that he had to commit to. And I think it was that same twitch that Jeff had when he brought me on. I'm sure Jamie had, which was this one. But he committed, and, that was 4 years ago. And now he's ordering 30, 40, 50 boards at a time. And he's our biggest retailer in Australia. And probably, in my opinion, one of the key retailers globally that really shows a passion for the brand and the industry, and has seen growth from here up to here, and that's what we love. Working with guys like that love the product.
Him in particular, his store was sort of snow and skate predominantly.
Yep.
And now it's sort of snow, skate, e-mobility.
100%. I think we were the first electric vehicle, as far as I can remember, apart from maybe the old hover scooter, whatever those things were. Hoverboards. We won't talk about them, but so brands or companies like that we've worked with that have grown, and I can think of numerous retailers that have done exactly the same thing and that have, I suppose, taken a risk, you could say, or taken a punt with us, and we've shown through obviously the brand, the strength of the product, but also it's everything outside of that. So the community engagement that you guys offer through the multiple videos and the multiple channels with all of the cool engagement,
it's also,
and our customer service.
100%. It's also a punt from our side as well. 100%. And that's the thing, because, to be able to work with, companies like this, it's not an easy ball game.
No.
You've got to be ready. You've got to have your A game. And it's not just dealing with one board at a time, one customer. We're talking, it's a very technical relationship that and managing that and being able to keep delivering and building on it. I think that's a challenging part of the business that we've learned a lot along the way. And
relationships. I mean, we talk about that with our distributors, but it's the same with our retailers. We try and grow and work with our retailers so that we can strengthen those relationships and they continue to be happy with what we're doing and we're happy with what they're doing.
And being able to supply them with product when they need it is the biggest challenge for us. It's and having your company in a position where you can do that. It's next level, I feel, and being able to do direct and wholesale, two complete different ball games.
Yeah. And actually, just touching on that, people ask me, why are you not here? Why are you not everywhere? Well, I mean, there's so many opportunities, and I think the key fact for me there is that we want to grow organically. We don't just want to throw it into every Tom, Dick and Harry store because we think that that'll bastardise the brand and it just won't allow us to get the value we want of the brand and also give the value to those retailers that we want to work with. So we are very careful about who we work with.
Definitely. We want our retailers to make money. And we all want to be successful
100%.
About this. And so it's it's definitely a touchy subject when we're talking about where we go and who we work with. So like Trav said, we're very particular on how far we go with it, and we want our retailers with us for the long haul. Yeah. We're not interested in short game here. It's we want them to be successful.
Well, if you look at, I'll say Australia, for example, because obviously New Zealand is a little bit more of a newer platform for us, as is Japan and UK. But from the Australian perspective, I think 80% of our retailers have been with us for at least 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, that's a good effort considering the size of the market now and the size of the opportunities that we're getting every day from retailers asking to range our product. So there's not that sort of transient attitude with us where we're committed to them, they're committed to us. And as you said, it's awesome to see them grow and us grow together.
It's investing in a long-term relationship. Yeah. So this network that we have built has taken 5 years plus since you came on to actually do. That said, how many retailers roughly? There's hundreds around the world, I guess, where you could physically walk in. So it's not a small number. It's a big number that's taken a long time to build up, and we're very happy with the quality of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. There's hundreds. If we look globally, there are hundreds. And, you know, as Jeff mentioned, we have, as Global HQ, a number of platforms that we run directly, but we also have the distributors who have large retail platforms like the USA and Germany and through Europe that we don't manage those retail platforms, but we obviously consult to them. And I myself and Jeff and our CEO Jason and Nathan, a number of our people consult directly with our distributors to help every part of their business. It's a team effort, and we are also mindful of that platform in their business. I think, if you don't mind me touching on this, because of the way that the distribution model is set up, it's a little bit more difficult, I suppose, for the distributor to see the value in working on a larger retail platform because of the margins that they may have to give away. And from a business perspective, if you can sell online and make better margin online, it's hard to go, well, I think I'll give some of that away to online because even though I'm going to have to give some discount away. So we've over time talked to them and said, well, retail is crucial because it exposes the brand further. I mean, yes, you may make a little bit less money on each product, but ultimately you're exposing the brand to a wider audience in that region, which means you'd assume that the sales would increase because of the engagement of the community and the feedback from further exposure. So
yeah, look, I think you touch on an interesting point there, in which we could really go a long way with this. But I know I sort of mentioned it before. Knowing your numbers in any business, you need to have your fingers on the pulse. Yep. And when we're talking wholesale versus direct, you know, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have those numbers dialed in, you're not going to be a successful brand. You'll run your business and you're not going to make money. At the end of the day, there's a business behind the business, and you need to be all over it.
Yeah, and the eSKATE world has seen that once or twice.
Oh, 100%.
It happens.
We've been watching it. We've been watching the whole industry grow. We've seen people come in. We've seen people come out, and we've seen the cracks. We know how things work, and we definitely don't do things the way other brands have done it. And we like to make our own rules, but we're very smart in the way we do our back end. You know, you got to have the guys who understand.
Well, sorry, again, as you mentioned, I think this came up in the video when you were talking about, in that video talked about initially, do we partner up with someone or do we take this on ourselves? You know, that idea of investing in it yourself means that you did it organically. You took the time and the effort to grow that distribution and the platform that way, instead of just throwing it out and hoping for the best or hoping for the big return. And I think, as you said, there's that business behind the business, and the numbers have to be ticked. And I think that's a better way of doing it from our perspective. It's worked for us, doing that slow organic growth than just throwing it at everywhere and just saying, bring it on. You know?
Yeah. And some of the best hires we've made, obviously, you know, you being on the sales team, knowing how to deal with that and understand the platform, but also having guys who are like genuine business people, who are accountants, CFOs, and you know, that's not me. I'm not 100% a numbers man. I've learned from these guys. They direct me, and we have big discussions around it, and that's how we make business decisions as a team. And so there's a lot to it.
A lot to it. So obviously there's been a lot of like numbers talk, margins and that, but the model itself, the end result is a network that actually benefits end user. So that's, I think, the important thing for customers to know 100%. Is that yes, we've managed to build a successful model that works from a business sense, but the model's there to result in helping everyone, more exposure, more access to products, more access to service,
and
community, which we could easily talk about for a long while more.
Touch on that later.
We're pretty much at the end of it now. We've gone about half an hour, so we might have to wrap it up there and come back with how the retailers help us run events and demos and all that sort of stuff. And
when the next events are.
Yes.
When are we going to start traveling again? Like we are desperate. We can't wait to just get our hands into 2021.
Yeah, bring it on.
This is it.
100%.
We got an event this Saturday in Brisbane for all you Southeast Queensland locals. Christmas Santa dress up. So luckily we got no restrictions.
Trav, what are you wearing?
Possibly a naughty elf costume. Not sure yet. I'll see. How about you, mate?
Probably Fat Santa.
So the usual.
Yep.
Santa. I'm going to Santa. Okay. Yeah. Wicked. Well, that's about it. So make sure you follow us on all the platforms, YouTube. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, a whole bunch. We'll be on Apple Podcasts very shortly. Check us on the Instagram, Evolve Skateboards. We'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Cheers.